HP earnings were
Getting a call in real time, Pat.
yeah, where both you and I had the opportunity to talk to CEO Enrique Lores. We were in Spain in a hotel. I don't know, what was it, like a conference room or something?
Yeah, like a little
At the
conference
end of
room.
the day,
A little conference room. Yeah, we were hiding in a conference room. Pat, we don't like to miss these calls. This stuff's important to us.
it is.
So hey, here's a quick rundown. It similar to what we just talked about with HP, no longer related really in any way except history. Um, Now they had a met the street on earnings number and they fell a little bit short on the PC number. There's an interesting kind of inflection here, and we asked about this, and I think you and I have the right assertion to what's going on. The PC correction and getting back to growth based on the longer term macros, but also based on the shorter term sell in is real. The sell in has been substantial. We saw big client growth numbers from AMD, from ARM, from Intel that are indicative that this cycle in for HP, the compute client computing spend is coming back, but it hasn't fully returned. We've seen sort of the inventory burn off. This was a big part of the trend line, was these companies got socked with inventory when the slowdown happened. And they spent a lot of their time trying to sell off. So they had to sell out before they could sell in again. So we're in the phase right now where you can believe new designs are being built, chips are being shipped. That's creating momentum, but that's not necessarily leading to recognizable revenue in the short term. It's leading to either A, an increase in order books for some of these companies, or B, sort of just a more optimistic tone from these CEOs that are saying the selling is coming because they're having to buy the silicon, which is why all those chip companies are seeing momentum. He did say they gained share in certain parts of this PC, which is really important. So despite the fact that they didn't even hit their revenue, that means they still outperformed in the category somewhat significantly. Now, there's a range of ASPs, and of course, different companies will tell you different things. Dell will tell you, they're maybe ceding some share because they're focused on higher end ASPs, selling prices on units. But I tend to believe that every company wants to win at every ASP. It's just deciding how badly you want to win and at what margin, how much cash you want to be creating. So, my overall take, or maybe my most interesting inflection from the conversation was, you and I think, have this kind of second half 24 thing with AI PCs that we've both been talking about. I think maybe what's come to my conclusion after these conversations, because we also spoke to Dell, or I had some conversations with Dell as well. I think you did. We've been talking with Lenovo, others. Is when that cycle becomes bigger for the OEMs versus when it becomes big for the chip makers. I'm beginning to believe the second half of 24 is going to be a chip maker boom for PCs, but that the actual sell out that's going to be required for an HP, Lenovo, Dell, Samsung, and these others to see big growth might not happen quite as quickly. And that's just from these CEOs. What did Enrique say? Really, he sees that Enrique Lores, CEO of HP, he really sees it being more of a 25, 26 tailwind for the company.
Yeah, trying to piece this together, and I'm going to focus on the PC group, not hit the printing group.
Yeah.
It was just kind of pluses and minuses. I mean, both Dell and HP saw declines. Lenovo had gains, and while Lenovo didn't come right out and say that PCs were up because IDG or phones, tablets, the size of the phone and the tablet businesses inside of Lenovo is very small, and Lenovo had a 7% growth. So Lenovo seems to be gaining market share, and they seem to be gaining revenue share, which is fascinating to me. And the good thing for HP, though, if you're losing unit share and you're losing revenue share, that's a really sad place to be. But at least they gained unit share. What I'm still I can't figure out yet is how Intel was up 30%, AMD was up 60% in PCs, and most of the PC makers were down. And I know it's not a one for one, but max, you've got about a six week delay. And then you would expect the forecast to be up if all these chips are coming in. It could be just a mix shift. So
Channel stuffing.
possibly,
Yeah,
I
I
haven't.
don't know. I just because, like you said, you would
I've
think
asked this question to every one of the companies, and I haven't gotten an answer yet from anybody other than it's an offset. So I'm almost thinking that AMD and Intel might be stuffing the channel with it.
or just a prediction of growth or buying ahead, risk reduction.
Yeah, but wouldn't that be coming out in the forecast, the PC makers? Anyways, I have more questions than answers here. And just to put a spotlight on the AI numbers. Oh, wonderful! I missed or I my bookmark here. Yeah, Antonio said, "Hey, 3 years after launch, AI PCs will be something between 40 and 60% of sales." I got to tell you, that seems just so conservative to me. But then I step back, and if you look at, I think most all of notebooks will be an AI PC. It's the desktops that are a TBD because the processor makers are vacillating on, do I put this capability into my silicon? Which, by the way, might portend to an opportunity for NVIDIA to come in here and put in cards or add-on cards to do that. But it just seems very, very conservative to me. Enrique did say it would start making the impact at the end of 24, which this makes sense because you're going to see Qualcomm will be in there, and then you'll have Lunar Lake and AMD there. But I know, folks, more questions than answers I have provided. I normally like to be the answer guy, but I'm still doing research on this.